Good morning, everybody. We've got another beautiful Sunday here. We've got about 10 inches of snow yesterday, so we're pretty well buried. It's close to 18 inches to 2 feet on the ground, depending on where you're looking, and makes everything a little bit more tricky. The easy thing to do would be to stay inside, work on some inside chores. We're not staged well with firewood, so we get all our firewood from the property. Typically go out into the woods, get a couple trees, cut them up into rounds, leave them up by the pile, and then split a couple at a time. We don't have a big log deck full of logs, so we're gonna cheat a little bit today. I just went and swapped the plow for the bucket on the tractor, and that was a feat in itself. The tractor will make it through this, but it's not easy. So instead of going out into the woods there and getting some trees, we're gonna cheat a little bit and get a kind of a nuisance tree. Here we've got this, it's like an 18-inch maple. It's leaning over this parking area here. We can cut it down and get it all bucked up without much trouble, I think. We're not gonna get too mired in the snow, and it'll solve our little parking problem. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. It'll be a fun little excursion. Hopefully I don't tire myself out too much, and stay tuned. All right, a little more details on the tree. This is the one we're talking about here. It's got a real heavy lean to the south, and we got a little window here where it's leaning between a porch and a picnic table. I'm gonna try not to move either and have the tree land right in here. Be a nice little working area. We can get it cleaned up pretty easy. I think I hit the porch. Not too bad. Definitely didn't hit the picnic table. So yeah, I'll just work to get this cleaned up. Pretty quick. I got it mostly cleaned up. You saw son making a brush pile there. We'll chip that, or yeah, we'll probably chip it when a little bit of snow dies down, or maybe next weekend, we'll see. You heard I called this a maple tree when we were back over there. I didn't want my son to get cold feet. That's a heavy red oak, I believe is a better definition of what kind of tree that is. And this is how we do firewood. You see all the limb woods in the back row there, and almost that whole tree fit on our tractor, with the exception of 6 or so of the biggest rounds back there. So it works out good. Yeah, we'll go dump this up in the wood yard, which is just in the back of our field for now. It's back up there behind the barn. Forgot to mention, this is the saw I'm using for now. It's a Husqvarna 545 Mark II. It's a 50 cubic inch saw. It works, it's the biggest saw I have, and it works good. It's not too heavy, and it's got plenty of power. Slowly saving my pennies for an upgrade someday. This only has a 20-inch bar on it, I believe, and as you can see, handle that tree without much trouble. But anything bigger, I mean, we don't want much bigger for firewood, but there's some bigger stuff where a bigger saw would save some time eventually. But we're in no rush, just enjoying the outdoors. And probably the most effective tool I have is this guy. It's my 13-year-old. I'd highly recommend one. He eats a lot of food, but they're not for sale, so you kind of have to start 13 years in advance. So when you think you're going to need a helper, start 13 years. He's big enough now, strong enough, and he's got way more energy than me, so great to have around. Hard part's done. We got the tree up here. Now we just got to split it up. This is the 40-ton splitter you just saw us tow up here. It lives in the garage. We try to take real good care of it. That's not what this video is about. We're saving that kind of overview for this as a later video. If you made it this far, go ahead, and you're getting something out of the video, go ahead and give it a like and consider subscribing. Made a verbal commitment to myself at this point that we'll post at least once a week, so it'll be easier for you to follow along with what we're doing at the house, and hopefully you get some enjoyment out of it. I did realize that on top here we got the biggest rounds. They're probably 18-inch green oak rounds, so they're super heavy, and I'd wear myself out pretty quick trying to get them up on here. So one cool feature I do like about this splitter is that the beam will rotate. We can put it in the vertical position. That way I just need to roll these rounds onto the thing. There's a latch down here on the beam, pull that, and then lift up. Now we have a different type of setup, so we don't have to do any heavy lifting. At least roll it, and then we'll work through that. So we'll set the camera up and do a little time lapse of this work here. All right, I'm done with the vertical position for the day. As cool as that is to break these into smaller pieces, it's still easier now that they're in half or quarters. Easier to lift up on the table and then split them up from here. This horizontal working surface is it's a lot easier to manage what you're splitting, and you're bent over the whole time doing that vertical position, so it's good to use sparingly. About an hour later, and we've got everything split up. We got some rounds buried in here from a couple weeks ago. Not gonna worry unburying those now. It's first week in March, and it's about 40 degrees, so the snow's not gonna stick around. You can see we're already starting to get a muddy mess. But yeah, we'll worry about stacking this later on. See, this method works pretty well for us. You get a couple trees cut up, and then we'll stack them. And this wood will get us to, I don't know, probably about there in the stack, and then the next group of rounds we'll drop off right around here and just keep working the stack that way. And yeah, can never have too much firewood. So yeah, thanks for joining us today, guys. Any questions, drop them down in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.